Welcome back. Thank you once again for hanging out with us. This is the one and only IT in the D show. We're recording Monday nights. We got one eye on the football game and then one eye on the podcast. We're hoping to bring a great show for you. I'm Bob Waltonspiel, your host, hanging out with co-host and producer extraordinaire Randy Walker. Guest this week, Jason Charnas. He is with Gesher Human Services, one of our favorite companies to interview. They're doing a lot great things with career counseling, resume writing, and I roll my eyes when I hear that too, but they're actually doing it properly, and we're going to talk to them more, or maybe they're not, and we're going to call them out on it. I'm kidding. And then one of my favorite things is that they do career counseling for people with disabilities to get back into the job market. You can find us online, itinthed.com. Do us a favor, give us a like on the socials, subscribe to us everywhere fine podcasts are sold. Don't forget, we're going to be at Eastern Palace Club for the remaining 2 meetups of the year. Go to meetup.com/IT. No speakers, no cover charge, just a bunch of cool people drinking tiki drinks and eating really good pastrami from their barbecue stand. I really like that place, and they really like having us, so I don't mind giving them.
Yeah, I went back again this weekend, and they were super enthusiastic, and so happy to give them business.
Good. That makes me happy. It's rare these days. I don't know why. Paul, how you doing? How they treating you?
I'm doing great. Look, any chance we get to talk about what we do, and more important, any chance we have to help some people with the job, career, whatever it is on the next step, it's a great evening to be able to talk about that stuff.
No, absolutely, and we always loved having Paul on because the one angle he used to always, it always warmed our heart was when he was with the stories that he would give all the time about retraining people like old Army vets that had lost both arms. That was my one of my, I don't want to say it's my favorite story, but heartwarming story. Lost both his arms, and they basically got some 3D arms printed and got him to be a picker at Amazon. And I'm like, you know what, you and your company are friends of mine for life. So I sincerely appreciate what you guys do out there.
Yeah, we've got a lot of great programs. We're a pretty large agency, nonprofit based in Southfield. But at the end of the day, we're here to help people with employment, whether that means individuals with disabilities, whether it means women looking to re-enter the workforce, or whether it means anybody who's just looking for an opportunity or wants professional help career-wise, finding that opportunity. We've got a ton of staff that are able to assist. And most of our programs are free, which is bonus on bonus.
Unheard of. Yeah, and that's what you brought up. You were like, yeah, I want to talk about resume writing. And the first thing I said is like, no, I don't want to talk about that because I see what happens out there. And you're like, no, it's free. And I'm like, okay, we can talk about that. So now I'll give you my take, and I want to see how you come across it. Like with me, anytime someone talks about resume writing, they want to charge you a few $100s. And you were like, nope, we don't charge. I'm like, okay, cool, we'll talk about it. And they go, then B, I always wanted it to be my words. That was one thing I was like with, we had a AI episode a few back, ChatGPT writing your essays and things like that. I'm like, if it doesn't sound like me talking, I don't want to write it. So like, talk to me about your process on the resume side with that scenario where like, are you just doing, because like, here's the thing. I talk to people all the time. I'm like, quantify what you've done that's business relevant, bullet points. Don't just say what you did, but how you made an impact. Like what's your approach, and we can kind of start from there.
So one of the things that we did is we said, a ton of people call us and say, I want help with my resume. I don't know how to do it. It's been 5 years, 10 years since I looked for a job. And resumes change, and they're always evolving. At the same time, we said, how do we make sure our staff are there to answer those questions? We got our team to become certified professional resume writers. It was awesome training. Is a resume the tool for finding a job? No. But a resume is an important part of the process, right? So you've got to have a resume that lists accomplishments, not just job tasks, right? You want to show what you've done. What are your successes? What do those accomplishments look like? But it's a step. So we have staff that are writing resumes every day, helping people write resumes every day. And so it's one of those things, combination of, do you make it look good? Does it format well? And is your resume telling your professional story, both of what you've done and what you're wanting to do? And then who are you writing your resume for, right? There's so much, especially in the IT field. Are you writing your resume for a recruiter who maybe has a little bit of understanding on technology and lingo, or are you writing a resume for a mechanical engineer, computer science guy who's got a ton of background and is looking for, ones and zeros in all of the detail? And the answer is you're doing both. But at the same time, a resume is a part of the tool. Yes, Bob, you need a resume. You need a resume because when you apply for a job, everyone is requesting, number one, a resume. When you sit down in an interview, they're looking at your resume. Is a resume the tool? It is a part of it. You guys are awesome because you're running networking events. And the truth is, what we tell all of our clients, everybody we're working with, is a resume is a great start, but if you stop with resume, you haven't gotten all the way. You've got to network. You've got to network as part of that process.
So Jason, let's start with the basics, right? Because my wife was working for the same firm for about 16 years. She really didn't have a resume because it was her first job out of grad school, and I went through templates and I looked up every template I could. And I'm not gonna lie, there is some really, really bad things being pushed on the internet in terms of a resume template. Like like the different colors, and then you put your picture on there, and like these goofy formats. And I'm like, I don't know who those people are putting it out. Maybe they're just trying to sell a $9 template or whatever. But like, what? And I'm trying to, like, for me, it's as basic as it gets. Like it couldn't be a more simple. It's the same resume I've used for 22 years. Block print. Big name on top, chronological order, skills on the top. Like when you're going through the templates, what's hitting, or what should you be looking for?
Yeah, so there's a lot of important components, and we can get into the AI side of it. I've played around with some of the AI resume builders. I am not a fan, and it's not job security, not a fan. I just don't think they do a good job. They will eventually get to that place. They don't do a good job. Top of your resume, right? The headline, you've got your name. Nobody's putting street addresses, right? We're putting city, state, zip. If you're really mobile, if you're working remote, you don't even necessarily need that. Cell phone, email. I don't know if it needs to be said, but an email that's first name, last name, first initial, last name, none of the Detroit Lions lover 921, right? We gotta want to do
Please
that.
Tell me those are. Is that still a thing? Do you still see those?
Yeah, we do see those. We also see some AOL and Yahoo stuff. Please, just don't do that. We've all got that guilty pleasure email address from a long time ago that we can't get rid of, but not for resume. LinkedIn profile, super important at the top of that resume, right? You want people to be able to find you, figure out who you are, how do they know you, what's that connection, what's your experience. But a professional statement at the top is one of those things more and more that places are looking for and that we're helping people. This is a place, frankly, that I think that some ChatGPT can get you some help if you're not a good writer. I was playing around with it today, and I dropped in a professional statement for a resume, 5 years of experience working in IT, and it spit out some great stuff to start, to draft. 2 or 3 sentences at the top, professional statement, the type of job you're looking for, right? Like mid-level IT professional, 5 years of experience, working in system administration, networking, whatever it is, listing some of that stuff just at the top. We get into some core competency stuff afterwards, skills, leadership, team building.
Jason, I always thought like I'm focusing more on IT just because this is an IT show.
Yeah,
and I've interviewed more than my share of people, and they would put as a skill, DNS, for example. They were like, all right, cool. What's the difference between an A record and a C name? They're like, I don't know. They're like, DNS isn't a skill. So like, I started, I was talking to a couple other people last week at the networking event, and I said, maybe like rate from 1 to 5. Where are you at? And put the skill. And like, do you recommend that, or is that like, like? Because here's the thing: you can put generic. I can put Java there as a developer, and like, well, I did one thing, right? It doesn't, you want to trip the search feature. You know what I'm saying?
So there's some different ideas on the tech side of it, the IT side of it. Some people will have a section at the bottom after your education that's tech competencies, listing those types of skills. Now, I'm not a deep tech guy, right? But listing the programs that you've worked in, that you're familiar with. At the end of the day, you're going to sit in an interview, and somebody who knows hopefully more than you is going to ask you some questions.
Sure.
And they're either going to see through the BS, or they're going to say, okay, this guy knows what they're talking about. But it's a part of it. And if you're trying to show both experiences, successes, accomplishments, it's an important piece to what.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying is like, are you beginner, novice, expert? Is it through 3 or what? Because I think you need to put it at somewhere, some scale of the, and I'm going to go back to the headline too, because everyone took a LinkedIn now is like, if you look at mine, I think I put like 6 things up there. I'm an idiot of like accomplishments, but like when I put on my resume, it's just IT sales professional, and I'm like, God, that's weak, and I don't know like that. That one, it kills me, like, because I don't know what to write
on your. You're talking about you don't know what to write on your headline on your LinkedIn
resume, actual
on
resume.
On your resume.
LinkedIn's easy, but just when it comes to the resume, like
so here's what we did: the professional summary, the statement at the top, professional title, right? So, IT networking administrator, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You want to list some key experiences within it. So, I can't give you those key experiences. Maybe you'll write with 25 years of experience. And then list a couple of your sort of either achievements or skills, expertise, right? Expert in AWS and something else, network, hardware, software, design, right? Whatever that might be. And that's a great 2 to 3 sentence statement that you can put at the top of your resume.
Well, that was always the famous conversations we'd always have at our job fairs. Like, what do you do? Oh, I'm an IT person. Well, get out of town. So is everybody else here. What do you do? And we'd have to ask 6 times to find out, like, oh, I'm a systems administrator. Like, oh, well, why did you just tell me that? I know you're trying to be everything to everybody, and I think that's the problem, especially when you're looking. This job market's tough right now, and you're trying to be everything to everybody.
And you have to know what you're looking to do, right? Or what your next thing is, what the experience is you're hoping for. And again, like, depending on where you are and what you're doing in IT, to be able to quantify your experience is tough. However, recruiters, hiring managers are looking for, like, what were your accomplishments, right? So work, to say you're a systems administrator, it's fine, but how do you make it sound? How do you not make it sound, right? You don't want to lie about what your experiences are, but how do you really start to quantify what that looks like, right? So thinking about, like, are you growing and scaling? Did you go through a migration from one software to another? Did you help sunset it, or did you optimize the procedures and the software you're playing around with, but like trying to get some really good quantifying information onto your resume, so it's not just listing your job tasks, but really, what are your successes? What are those big things that are going to help you with that next opportunity? Do you supervise people? Have you supervised? That's a huge part of, depending on what that career trajectory is going to look like.
Sure. What now scenarios? I get this question a lot. I'm just wondering your professional take. If you've had like 2 years, like let's say you're retraining and you're took 2 years, and let's say you're working at XYZ sandwich shop. You
Yep.
know, not to throw it, and it is insanely not relevant to the position you're trying to get. But you got your certifications, and now you're ready.
Mhm.
Do you even bother listing it?
So you may want to list it because a 2-year work gap is a challenge for some hiring managers. They don't want to see a 2-year work gap. So you were working and you were at the time getting a certification, you were going through training, and you've come out with it. So it's a great place to list it, but on your cover letter, again, we can talk about cover letters later or never, but on your cover letter, it's a great place to say, I just spent the last 2 years working at a sandwich shop while getting my certification, and now that I have that, I'm ready for that next professional opportunity. That's the way to balance it. If you worked at a sandwich shop for 3 months, no, don't.
Yeah.
Not if it's not professionally relevant, but you had a job, you worked at a place for 2 years. That is an accomplishment. That does show some level of professional success, right? You were able to stay somewhere for 2 years. Not a lot of people. Well, that's not something that everybody's going to be able to include in the resume. And by the way, sandwich shop, you flip it into customer service. And depending on the job you've got, customer service skills, vital.
Showed up on time. That's kind of what I tell everyone going into help desk. You got 3 things to do: show up on time, keep to your tickets, and don't smoke weed. If you do those 3 things,
2 out of the 3, right? Go for it.
Right. So you went and did it. You dropped the bomb. You said cover letter. And I get this question probably more than anything, especially with the people that I'm helping navigate through the workforce. Do you write them? I am so anti cover letter because I don't think anybody reads them. What's your take?
So some businesses, some companies are asking for a cover letter. So it's worth writing it if they're asking for it. I know. I have that same thought. I'm spending time helping somebody or encouraging somebody to write a well thought out cover letter. Is it ever going to get looked at? Is the resume going to get more than 35 or 40 seconds of time in front of somebody? And mostly no. I mean, that's what the research says. Do some hiring managers actually spend time? Absolutely. We know they do. Do some people read the cover letter? Absolutely. So you have to have it, but the truth is, it's so individualized. I mean, I'm not comfortable saying no, nobody's reading them, because I know people are reading them. I read them when I get them, but also because of the business I'm in. Fair, do you? Fair. I mean, are you hiring? Are you when you do hiring? Do you read them?
No, never did. I'm not. I don't. I'm not actively interview, but over the last 5 years, I've interviewed dozens and dozens, and probably 100 people. Yeah. Never read them.
Do you read the full resume?
Typically, it's the skills, like whatever it is I'm hiring for, it's filtered pretty good before I even talk to them, so I know that they're. I'm basically the way we always trained our recruiters at our job when we used to do our pink slip parties, our job fairs was. Read 5, get 5 resumes, interview 3, hire 1, like expedite that process. So I'm not going through, and I was hiring systems engineers, and I was hiring help desk, and I was hiring, so like a lot of it was, hey, is this person skills match? And then, we wanted to make sure that they were, obviously decent human beings, but I always read through all of it if they, and then we had some, I had one question I loved asking, and there was never a wrong answer, but I wanted to know who you were, and it told me everything I needed to know about you, and none of it was wrong. It was, tell me about your last outage. What'd you do?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's one of 3 people. I went and did it all myself and fixed it. Mm-hmm. I called and assembled the dream team, and we fixed it, or I called Microsoft support and we fixed it.
Okay,
right, fixed.
You want to know what the thought process is, right? Can they think through and solve a problem? Yeah. I mean, that's at the end of the day.
Where are you in the team? Are you, if you assembled a dream team, you're either a delegator or a leader, and I need to figure that out really quickly. Mm-hmm. If you're doing it all by yourself, you're a lone wolf, and that's great if you're smart, but I want you to be able to work with people. So, again, there was no wrong answer. Now, do you coach? I'm just curious when you're doing career, like coaching on questions. There's a lot of them that I don't want to say. I only got stumped once in my life, and I wasn't expecting it. It was the guy said, "I know why you're great. You know, you're sitting in front of me, but tell me why you suck." And he said it just like that, and I was like,
Wow.
I sat there for 30. I'm like, God, how do I answer this? Because I want to answer it honestly, but I also want to be professional, right? I guess talk to me about how you're coaching in your career counseling. Some of the, some of those oddball questions.
So there are, my experience is most of the hiring managers, especially today, are following a series of pre-written, thought out questions, and they're not there to get you. There are, of course, those hiring managers that are. The best thing you can do is be as open and honest. And so if someone says to me in an interview, what do they ask? They love asking your weakness and wanting you to come up with what that looks like. So, you can be as honest-ish, right? You're not going to say, man, nobody likes working with me. I'm a real jerk, right? Even if that's it, you can say, I really like working alone. I find that I work best alone, and I've been working really hard on, right, and answer the second part of it, the follow-up, and I've been working really hard at being a better team player and asking for help when I recognize that it's more than I can accomplish and by the due date.
That's a great answer. See, the most of the time when I would never ask it because I work too hard. I'm too caught up in I'm too perfectionist. And it's like, it's such an awful answer. Like what you just said would be like, oh, yep, I like him already,
Yeah, but it's not an easy question to answer.
Yeah.
A lot of people have trouble just answering about themselves, right? Tell me about yourself. A lot of opening, just icebreaker kinds of questions. Tell me about yourself can be a really difficult question. And I know we've got lots of people who want to jump to personal, want to jump to things other than like, let's just talk. I've been in the nonprofit field for however many years and love working with people and love helping people find that next career opportunity, right? We could do that and then open it up for more questions and conversation and discussion into that interview. But
see, I had an argument with somebody where my mentality methodology completely contrasted with hers, and she called me out on it. Whereas I said, if I'm hiring nerds and geeks, I want the nerd culture to embody them holistically. I want them to argue with me on Star Trek versus Star Wars. I want them to talk to me about their Raspberry Pi server they built in the basement. I want them to talk to me about their Wi-Fi network they built in their home, right? Because I live and breathe. This is so when you're coming to work, it's not really work. You're just tinkering with stuff.
Right.
And she said, no, I want you to work really hard and be really good at what you do and then live your life separate. I don't care. Why would you, and I'm kind of like, that's fair, but like, I guess it's philosophy, right? At the end of the day.
Well, and when you're hiring for your team, you want people around you that are like-minded thinkers, not robot thinkers that are exactly who you are, but you want people living and doing what you're doing. And you get home at the end of the day and you're tinkering and you're perfecting your own network and you want to have a good argument about Star Trek versus Star Wars. And so you want those people around you. I get it. But that's the beauty of also employment, right? We are all able to find our place. And if I were interviewing with you and you were to say Star Trek, Star Wars, maybe I could get into a great argument, or maybe I'd walk away and say, listen, like Bob seems like a great guy, but not a guy I can work with. I can't talk Star Trek, Star Wars, and Raspberry servers all the time. That's not for me.
Right.
I'm going to go work with your friend who you got in an argument with. She's my perfect supervisor, right? I mean, we've all got that.
So in the career, I'm just thinking back to like I get calls, 4, 5, 6 times a week on like, hey dude, can you help me? Hey dude, this is going on. And I got a lot of people in career transition. They're stuck or they don't like what they did. I have a few friends like in the liquor business that are like, dude, I'm done with this industry. Yeah. I go, well, you need to start over and it's not going to be pretty when you find out what, when you have to go back to the ground. Is there a way for someone that's done really well in a particular industry? I hear it a lot in project management. Like, hey, does it correlate to IT? Can I get in IT? And then IT says no. Talk to me about, I guess, what's a good answer? What do I tell some of these people that are like, I'm in this career rut. I need to shift. Yeah. Do I have to start over from ground zero, or is there a way I can parlay?
That's an awesome question. A huge part of what my team is doing is working in a program we call career counseling. We get people that call us fresh out of college with a bachelor's degree in something, straight out of high school, not interested in college. We get people in their mid 40s, 50s, 60s and be like, I need something different, but I don't know what it is and I don't know how to figure it out. So our career counselors, regardless of where you are on that spectrum of experience in life, are here to help. And we're utilizing a variety of individualized assessments. They're looking at things like strengths, interests, motivators, work styles. They're helping to interpret the results of those assessments, ultimately with the goal of helping people to figure out a career path. We have a variety of people who come through the program, and at the end of the day, career path, they're on the right path. Their supervisor is the problem, and they should find that exact job at a different company with a different supervisor, and they're going to continue with their success. We have other people who, they've got that MBA, but don't know what's next. They know college isn't for them, but they don't know what is right for them, and flipping burgers isn't the direction. And we're able to help everybody figure that out and to find and to provide that assistance, right? That sort of glimmer of, okay, so it isn't hopeless. Well, there is a program, there is a career, there's a path that I can take. We also have those folks that are like nearing retirement or further on in their career, and they're like, so I just worked the last 35 years and it was all about dollars. I was just trying to make money and I didn't like any of it. And it's unfortunate that the intersection of enjoyment and money can't always align, but they don't. And then they're like, so this last career thing, the next 3-5 years, I want to go to work and enjoy it. I want to look forward to work. How do I figure that out? And we've got a great group of people that can help with that.
What's the percentage of people that enjoy going to work? I'll be candid, I do. I really like what I do.
You know what?
I think I'm in the rare.
I don't know what the percent is. I mean, I guess somebody can,
they're all made up on the spot anyway.
But I don't know. I don't know. I think a lot of people like work enough, right? And there's the demographic, generational stuff. What's your ultimate goal? Are you going and are you working for the same boss, for the same company, for the same thing forever? Or are you the like millennial Gen Z? What's your goal? Is your goal get a job, get some skills, get some experience, and then go somewhere else and keep figuring out and keep jumping around and ultimately hopefully find enjoyment and getting a lot of those experiences?
One of the SVPs at Cisco came up to me over drinks in Vegas when we were at a conference, and we talked for about 25-30 minutes, and he's like, I like you, let me tell you something. He goes, grabs me by the shirt collar and he says, 3 years up or out, don't ever forget that. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, that's profound. And I maybe is that IT centric, but I go, that's a crazy barometer to live to your whole entire career. So then I have like kids, I'm working with 28-year-olds and stuff. Yeah. And do I want to tell them that? Because that's a rough life. It's not, I'm not gonna lie. I've been through it already 25 years. It's a rough life. What's your take? I mean, have you heard on the contrary, or have you, I guess, no, it's rough to find someone that's been 20 years at one company these days. It's rare.
So there's a few professions that do that. Teachers more, but less and less, right? They find that school, they have that job, and that's them. But yeah, less and less. I don't like looking at resumes of somebody that's been somewhere a year and a half for the last 5 jobs. That doesn't give me a lot of certainty that they're there for any amount of time to really value add to the position. I think there's something to be said for 3 to 5 years, get some experience, learn, grow, promote within if there's an opportunity, or look for something else. But everybody has a different goal. Some people are just there to be comfortable, earn enough money, combined with their spouse, that they're happy, they're comfortable, they're not putting 70, 80 hours in blood, sweat, and tears. It's a job. They like it. They're going. They're turning it around, and they're happy to stay right where they are. 3 to 5 years is a great time, depending on where you are in your career, for sure.
Yeah. No, interesting. Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, I feel like when I get asked these questions and I answer them, just as you've answered me,
Yeah.
I think like I still think like they walk away going, "Well, shit, I don't know," and I feel like it's there's no, and my take was there's no perfect. The interviews that I've thought I've nailed and I've been amazing, I haven't gotten, and the ones where I'm like, oh god, I don't think they liked me, I've gotten hired. And I've used resumes from on Monster that I got on Microsoft Word, and I've gotten hired at Fortune 50s. I don't think it's a science that as much as I think there's some basics. I think like a framework. I'm just curious what your take was, because I've seen at this point in my career, I've seen everything.
We work with people who will go through 3, 4, 5 interviews, and they've interviewed with everybody in the company, and the information they're taking out of this interview that was awesome. Like, we vibed. Like, that was an hour and a half interview that felt like it was 15 minutes. It was such an awesome conversation. And then they're like, sorry, we went in another direction. And we get people the same who bombed that interview. Like, that was bad news. And they get a call back. So, I don't think there's an absolute science, because you're dealing with people and personalities. And at the end of the day, as an interviewee, somebody who's looking for a job, you don't really know what they want. Some hiring managers keep it real close to the vest. Some are really transparent, but everybody's looking for something different, and they're hoping and they're looking for a match. I think people's success in finding a job, and I mentioned it earlier, and it's something that you guys are doing, it's networking, right? Yeah. I want to know who works at this business, who's connected to this hiring manager, who do I know that used to work there? How can I leverage my LinkedIn network to say, okay, who works in this department or this business, and how do I get connected to somebody so that my resume isn't just a line in a filter somewhere, but it's in someone's inbox from somebody they trust. And if I can get my name to a hiring manager through a trusted source, a connection, does it guarantee me a job? No, but it gets me an interview, and then I got to rely on myself, answer those questions, be prepared, and often they have, hiring managers have 3, 4, 5, 6 candidates that are equal. What sets everybody apart from the other, right? That's going to be it. It's how do we know somebody in common, or who do they trust that's saying, hey, give Jason a chance, give Bob a chance. That's it. That's the success above anything else. Yeah, we can talk about acing an interview. It's important. We can talk about making your resume look good. It's important. Should I write a cover letter? It's a good step. But at the end of the day, those are all tools, and you've got to use all of your tools, and not just a single resume.
But I also think it goes a lot farther it goes a lot farther too when you're getting that interview, and instead of reading your last press release, going, well, what do you know about ABC Company? And then you're like, well, I've noticed that you were expanding to, and like no one, like I talked to so-and-so who I'm personal friends with, and he told me you guys are doing some really cool work in here, and I'm really intrigued about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's awesome, right? Genuine. All of a sudden it was a genuine conversation, right? Yep. And even if you don't know somebody personally, take a chance, reach out to somebody on LinkedIn. Hey, if it's local, can we meet up for a beer or a cup of coffee? Do you have 20 minutes on the phone? Let's just talk. I want to learn. I want to find out if this is even a good business, a good company, a good organization that's going to be a good fit for me. Forget about the perfect job, right? There's so much that goes into it. Do I agree with the mission, the vision, the values, the what are their core principles? If you can't agree with that, that's a important also part of this whole job search.
Sure. So that I want to end kind of, this is my soapbox thing. I swear one time a meetup, I will meet someone and they'll go, well, what do you do? And they go, well, I kind of do web design. I kind of, and they're like, and I kind of look at her and I go, open your eyes, give me the Johnny Cash eyes. And I'm like, I'm a web designer and I'm really good at 1, 2, 3. And this wakes me up. I go, what gets you? Everyone's got something that gets them fired up. It has to.
Yeah,
Like, you got a fire in the belly. Like, show me fire in the belly. Like,
putting together like that 30 to 60-second pitch, that elevator speech, right? Where you're stuck in an elevator with somebody and you're going to the 10th floor and you're chatting. Like, how do you tell somebody what you do and what you're excited about? Because you don't know who's in that elevator, and they may be that hiring manager you didn't even know about, right? Networking
Jason,
events,
you know what I
gotta. What's that?
I rewrote the elevator pitch a long time ago when IT&D was in its infancy.
Okay.
Because I was having these conversations with the people that were talking for a minute, 2 minutes, and it was not in my field, and I was lost, right? And so now when someone asks me what I do, I say I'm in tech sales, and they go, oh, okay, what do you do? Because I'm in this business. And it becomes a conversation.
Yeah.
And it's my elevator pitch broken up into 15 different things.
That's awesome.
Going, hey, I work with Microsoft and I do this, and I'm more on this side, and I'm instead of going, my name is, we had a class at HP, and it was, I tell the story all the time. Like, my name is Bob. I'm with HP Network Services. Our products give you a lower total cost of ownership and a higher probability of meantime failure. So you can rest assured that.
Look at this. You remember this. How many
totally
times did you say that? You're like going to have a nightmare. It's just going to be spinning in your head. But right, there can be a genuine way to explain to somebody what you do, why you're excited about your job, what that mutually beneficial thing may look like, or what you're looking for.
So, Jason, we're going to cut you loose. I really appreciate it. This is a great conversation. This is very much needed because I run into people all the time that are either in turmoil or need help interviewing or need help the next gig. And you guys do. I love what you guys are doing ever since we've had Paul on the first time. Love having you back. But if you guys want to find out what Jason does or more, just go to find him at Gesher Human Services at GESHERMI.org. All these services are free. It's donated by a lot of great people that keep you guys doing this. So I love the mission. I love everything about it.
Awesome. I really appreciate the time. Yeah. If anybody has questions, if they just want to talk, how can we help? What might be possible? Give us a call. Look us up, GesherMI.org.
Jason, I'll put your LinkedIn too in show notes. Hopefully a couple of people reach out. And if not, I'll push them your way anyway. So Jason Charnas, Gesher Human Services. Appreciate the time. We're going to wrap things up for this episode of the IT&D Show. On behalf of Bob and Randy, do us all a favor. Drink up your drinks. Get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. See you next week. Drive careful. Beat it.